The headline medical stories that affect you and your family. This is What's Happening in Health, sponsored by Mayfield Braden Spine.
Morning, everybody, and welcome to What's Happening in Health. We are so grateful you're joining us today. Got a great hour of hope and healing this Sunday morning, beginning with a new partnership in our community. Miami University announcing it's teaming up with the Christ Hospital and NeoMed, or the Northeast Ohio Medical University. Joining us today to share more about this, we want to welcome Dr. Gregory Crawford, the president of Miami University. Give me a hello there. Debbie Hayes is president and CEO of the Christ Hospital Health Network, and Dr. John Langell is the president of NeoMed. So grateful to have you all here today. Can't wait to share more about the work you're doing. And an event which aims to help improve access to care and health screenings coming back this year. We are going to be telling you about the new and improved Health Expo from the Center for Closing the Health Gap. I want to welcome back Renee Mahaffey-Harris. She is the president and CEO of the Center for Closing the Health Gap. She's going to share more about a bigger program that really allows you to take charge of your own health. But first, quick headline for you today. Physical therapy making the list of top treatments to beat back pain, according to a new report. These are some of the team members at Mayfield Braden Spine. They work with movements that help you when you sit, stand, move to keep your spine in proper alignment. That can alleviate strain on the back. Studies show that when you increase your strength, flexibility, endurance, back pain decreases. But it does take time, this team says, especially if you have sciatica.
It occurs in about 40% of people over the age of 40, and there's a whole bunch of different things that can cause sciatica pain. A lot of it can be posture related, and then sometimes it can just be maybe you live a really active lifestyle, you didn't have the best form throughout, and then maybe just one day you woke up and your body was like, that was kind of the last straw.
For more information on sciatica pain or any other kind of back pain, or if you need an evaluation, you can reach out to the team at Mayfield. It's 513-221-1100. Now to our top story this half hour. It's in Look Good, Feel Better. Newer way to transplant hair is now trending in eyebrows and beards. Here's some before and afters for the goatee, which transplants obviously facial hair for guys. And we want to give you a quick heads up in case you're a little squeamish. We are going to show you some actual surgery video in this. The procedure is really popular.
Guys like those really thick beards, you know, it's almost as important as having thick hair on your head.
Mark Lucas is the clinical director of the hair division at the Advanced Cosmetic Surgery and Laser Center. These are his before and afters of his own top-of-the-head hair transplant. As this video provided by the center shows, these facial hair transplants are done the same way with what's called FUEs, or follicular unit extractions.
We're basically taking hair from the back of the head, which is genetically programmed to never fall out. And just like on the top of the head, we're making those little paper cuts and we're inserting that little, what they call grafts, into that little slit, and the hair will grow for the rest of their life.
Eyebrows are filled in the same way as well and are often requested by women.
Women mainly overplucked over the years, and once that's done, a lot of times the hair does not grow back.
Here's the before and afters on the eyebrows when complete. And once again, here's the before and afters on the goatee. This is kind of dramatic, isn't it? These facial hair transplants can cost about $10,000, and in most cases, they are not covered by your medical insurance plan. In our Ask a Nurse today, we're asking if you're noticing dry, flaky skin, what you can do about it. We asked about topical treatments that might infuse moisture. Amber Maley is a nurse practitioner. She also owns the Derma Lounge in Crescent Springs. She says many of her clients enjoy topical facials, some of the kinds you see here. The one she's actually doing here is called the Venus Glow,
which involves a little rubber silicone tip that will spin, it'll exfoliate, it has suction to it so it can actually suck out the dirt and the congestion from her pores, and as well as it's going to infuse different types of serums into her skin.
The serums are concentrated skin formulas that are put into the water. They can moisturize for about 4 to 6 weeks. This costs you a couple $100, and once again, you're probably paying on your own because your medical insurance company is not going to pay for it. All right, just ahead, new support for training healthcare providers in our community. Can't wait to share more about a new partnership between Miami University, Christ Hospital, and NeoMed. Greg Crawford, Debbie Hayes, and Dr. John Langell all joining us next on What's Happening in Health.
This portion of What's Happening in Health is sponsored by Life Enriching Communities and Poxworth.
Welcome back, everybody. We are so glad you're staying with us here on What's Happening in Health. We have a wonderful segment we do here called Healthy Innovations. And as part of it today, we have the privilege of meeting those who are leading the way in a new partnership with Miami University, the Christ Hospital, and NeoMed. So we want to find out a little bit more about who you are and what you do. Let's start with you.
Hi, I'm Greg Crawford, the president of Miami University.
And you are?
I'm Debbie Hayes. I'm the president and CEO of the Christ Hospital Health Network.
And I'm John Langell. I'm the president of Northeast Ohio Medical University.
And you had quite a drive to get here, so God bless you. How long did it take?
About 3.5 hours, but it's always worth the trip when I get to work with these two.
Oh. So who is the right person to start and tell me how this came about?
I can give it a shot.
Okay, I'm going to start with you. You are with Miami University, so we do a little video of your university.
Okay, and so Christ Hospital has been taking care of us for a long time. They have a center of excellence for knee and hip replacements. So they take great care of our employees. So we had a wonderful relationship with the Christ Hospital Network. And John and I are colleagues, of course, in public universities here in Ohio. John's a surgeon, I'm a physicist, but our overlap is entrepreneurship. And so he had come to me about how do we solve this physician shortage in Ohio, and so we brought these three organizations together, and it was kind of a match made in heaven. And so we started collaborating, working, and talking through this, and it just turned out fantastic, and we were so happy last November to announce this wonderful partnership.
So I got the announcement, but I don't quite know what Debbie's really good at, which is what are the nuts and bolts? How does it work? How do you come together? What does it bring?
Right. Well, what's really exciting here is three organizations coming together to solve a problem that is not only going to be a problem in Ohio, but nationally, and that is physician shortages. So if you look at the statistics the way it is today, it would tell us that by 2030, there's going to be a shortage of 1,200 physicians in just Ohio. That number is upwards of almost 100,000 nationally by 2030. And so the three of us are coming together as they build their programs to figure out ways to increase the pipeline of physicians that will be our caretakers in the future, which is so incredibly exciting.
Okay, so no pressure. But since you're the NeoMed, which has the med school and everything else, first tell us what that is for people not familiar with your university, because you're a little far from our core in Cincinnati. And then how do you bring that together?
Yeah, so Northeast Ohio Medical University is a public university focused solely on health and sciences education, and at the graduate level. So doctoral degrees and some master degrees. We are not in the undergraduate space. Our focus, since we've existed for the last 50 years, has been to serve as a workforce generator for Ohio in the healthcare sector, specifically starting out around doctors. And so we are now spread across the state of Ohio. Despite the name, Northeast Ohio Medical University, we really are here to serve the state of Ohio. As a MD granting institution, we have the highest number of graduates who stay and practice for Ohio's communities. In fact, we've taken on the messaging from Ohio and for Ohio, because that is our number one goal, is to serve the communities here.
So then you both are providing and promoting academic programs, essentially. And is part of this partnership also breaking down barriers? So
Absolutely,
yeah.
And so it involves many different things, and so there'll be placements of NeoMed students at Christ Hospital Systems for their third and fourth year, and then we'll open up our campus too to those students so they can come to events or games or whatever it may be, so they can utilize our campus. And then also Miami does a lot with undergraduates in the pre-med program, and so we have an early assurance program with NeoMed, so students can get in early, assuming they meet the criteria, and be ready to go for medical school. And so it works out for all of us together, and it also works out to solve that need of bringing more physicians to Ohio.
And a lot of people, that's very appealing to do like a partnership program. We hear about them as 2 and 2s or 4 and 4s, that kind of thing. So is that sort of how it works?
Currently, we're looking at the standard pathways that says you've completed your undergraduate degree. A lot of times at Miami, that may be 3 years. But traditionally at most institutions it's 4, and then they come over to us. We are exploring things for the future, but with accreditation it's easier to follow the current rules, and so we're looking at a transfer of about 20 Miami students per year to start off with. They will graduate, they'll come up to NeoMed, spend 2 years with us, and the goal is to have them all down in Cincinnati and training with Christ Hospital here in Cincinnati region. And we know that if you train in medical school in the state and you do your residency in the state, that it's about 80% of the time they'll stay and they'll practice long term, and that's our goal.
Right. So I know you do a wonderful job with training, and we're often in there and see you with all kinds of healthcare providers. Is the goal to start with physicians, and then will you add, I think about the need for nurses and nurse practitioners. Is that kind of the bigger picture?
Well, and this is the beauty of a partnership. So they have their programs, we have our College of Nursing and Health Sciences, and if we can all work together, we can increase the number of people in this community that train in this community, that live in this community, and then, as you said, want to stay in this community for the long term.
Okay, so here's the hard question. I'm not going to pick who answers it, but it might be you again. How do you measure success? Is it simply in numbers of people who come and go to school here and stay here, or how is that being followed?
Well, from our perspective at Miami, it certainly is. We graduate the students, they graduate from NeoMed, they train at Christ Hospital, and then we keep them here in Ohio.
And we know now what that number is, so we can start to build on it?
Absolutely.
Right. And again, if Cincinnati can be what I would say the poster child for success, then this can be replicated across the nation.
Which is always the true measure of success.
Exactly.
Yeah. So one of the things that was very interesting to me is that when I looked at the background of NeoMed, you were sort of founded with a purpose of making sure we had diversity in our medical system. I want a doctor who looks like me. I want a doctor who can speak my language. So tell me how sort of this fits into that goal.
Well, diversity is a term that covers a lot of areas. We've refocused what diversity means at the institution based on the U.S. and state laws. And so currently we've defined it as those who are economically disadvantaged, as well as U.S. military connected individuals, and then rural. And there's a lot of rural in Ohio, and in fact there's a big deficiency, greater relative to the rest of the state, in physicians serving in rural regions. So those are our 3 ways of defining diversity in today's world. It's resulted in a really talented and great mix of students who are all superstars, and I'm really proud to say that our performance metrics, which include not just progression through the years and graduation, but doing incredibly well on standardized national tests and matching at a really high rate, it's off the charts. They're competing well beyond national averages.
That's exciting to hear. Okay, so a couple minutes left. I'd like to hear from each of you what sort of is the one thing you want people to know about this partnership, about what it brings and about what you hope it will do.
Yeah, first and foremost, I think for Ohioans, we really want to be those institutions that bring physicians to the state and have them stay here. And so we're very excited about that. As the president of Miami University, offering our students the opportunity to go to NeoMed and train and then be a part of the Christ Hospital system is amazing. And so just super excited about the partnership in general, where the students get to train at a top hospital and also a great medical school.
I'm really excited because, again, as a healthcare CEO, my job is to make sure that we can take care of this community. If I can make sure that we have enough physicians, enough nurses, enough support staff around these wonderful physicians who can do only what they can do, then the greater Cincinnati community is in a much better place.
Yeah.
And these partners are amazing.
That's really nice to hear. All right, final thoughts.
Well, I think this partnership brings the full spectrum of medical education together, from those Ohio residents especially who graduate, stay in the state, go to a top-tier university, hit the pre-med program, come to NeoMed to do their medical school, and then come to an incredibly well-run and really a top national hospital in Christ Hospital to finish their training. We've created that entire spectrum of training here. I think the key message that I want to get out is we are doing this for the communities of Ohio. That is the reason. And to our partners and the other universities in the region, this is all additive. This is not competitive. We want all of us to stand up and to do more to be able to provide health care to all of our loved ones within the state.
Yeah, we're really going to have a crisis if we don't address the
Yes.
whole healthcare provider
Yes.
need. Yeah. Well, I applaud what you're doing. I look forward to the first interview when you measure success, and you'll come back right here and share it.
We will.
Got it.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you guys
Thank you.
so much.
Thank you.
And by the way, keep up the great basketball.
All
We're
right.
super excited about
Me
that.
too.
You have no idea. All
I'm the
right.
president of a basketball school now.
I just had to say it. Everybody was thinking it. So God bless you guys. Thank you
you.
so much for what you're doing. All right, coming up, we're going to continue this discussion on changing lives and improving access to care. We're going to continue our discussion with Renee Mahaffey-Harris. She's with the Center for Closing the Health Gap. She's bringing back our screening with the Health Expo, and we can't wait to hear all about it. Stay with us on what's happening in health.
This portion of What's Happening in Health is sponsored by Miami University, the Vein Center of Cincinnati, and Lindner Center of Hope.
Welcome back, everybody. I want to introduce you to this week's Donor of the Week. We started with this person because they began donating because of his family. Aiden Keller is from Burlington. He's been donating blood for about 12 years and says his dad always donated blood. So now he and his brother donate as well. Keller says one of his friends who is sick has needed blood, and he feels really good that he's able to help people this way.
That's really what it's all about, is that community aspect to it. I do have friends that, like, actually one of my best friends does have ALL leukemia, so like being able to donate and help him, whether it goes directly to him or to anyone else, really does feel good. That's what it's all about.
Time's running out to get those free UC Puffy vests when you donate. You have to do it through the between now and the end of January, but Hawksworth would sure appreciate your donation. To schedule an appointment, 513-451-0910. You can also schedule online or through the Hawksworth app, and we have a link on what'shappeninginhealth.com. All right, on now to our wonderful friend, Renee Mahaffey-Harris. Remind us who you are and what you do and what your organization does.
Well, my name is Renee Mahaffey-Harris. I'm the president and CEO of the Center for Closing the Health Gap, and we are working now for 21 years to improve the health of marginalized populations across our greater Cincinnati region by empowering people in their own health.
And that means that you track things. And we've more than once had the discussion that depending on where you live, your zip code can determine your access to a doctor, you know, what diseases you'll get screened for. So you sort of look at that as a whole and then design programs to fit, or tell me a little bit about that.
Exactly. So it's really about lifespan. And so we know that years of life lived are shorter when there are diseases that are preventable and lifestyle factors that can contribute to extending the life of yourself and your family members. And so our work is around our Do Right campaign and our interventions focused on diabetes and cardiovascular disease, as well as our partnerships with mental health organizations like the African American Psychology Association, the Black Nurses Association, the Nurse Practitioners Association, and the Cincinnati Medical Association. Really building that partnership with your healthcare provider is the key to improving your health outcome.
Yeah, no question. Even having a relationship can make a difference.
Exactly.
So one of the reasons we wanted to talk to you was we got this kind of I'll say burst of information that something that was removed from our community about a year ago is coming back. We call it the Health Expo. We have a little video from a previous year, but what's going on with the Health Expo? That's what everybody wants to know.
So we heard you. You want the Health Expo back. What's so important to me and to all of our partners is that we continue to work on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, to address the health gaps and health disparities. And we are very fortunate that this organization exists because of the founder, Dwight Tillery, who saw this issue of health inequities and health disparities across our country, that we are dying sooner, that we have most highest prevalence of so many diseases, and much of that has to do with where you work, live, and play. And so our expo this year is going to focus on activation and interactivity so that the family and adults that come to the Health Expo leave with one thing that they can activate differently. That's tying how we manage our mental health with art, how kids who play on sports teams, how you can really kind of see how that physical activity and that rigor is going to help improve your long-term health outcomes. Just simple things to show you simple ways, and nutrition. Obviously what you eat has a big impact on how well your health is. And so getting our kids, getting our families to understand simple ways to purchase food on a budget. Food is more expensive now. So it's what are the creative ways of making your dollar go further by planning your meals?
So what was interesting to me was you said part of the reason that we put the Health Expo on pause was that we felt like every year people came back and said, yeah, I have high blood pressure, but they wouldn't necessarily
take a step.
Yeah, or the next year they come back and still be high. So what goes on between the expo now? Because it seems like that's sort of what you really wanted to address.
So that's what we are doing as the health gap, closing the health gap. We are working with our partners to have CPR training throughout the year, to have programs that are focused on mental well-being with our partners, to have programs focused on diabetes. We actually have a diabetes intervention that is focused on people who are diabetic and pre-diabetic. It's a 12-week intervention that at the end of that intervention, people who are pre-diabetic are less pre-diabetic, and people who are diabetic are seeing improvement in their numbers, improvement in the rates of hypertension, which there is a direct correlation between diabetes and hypertension. So cardiovascular disease for all ages. And when you're seeing higher rates of diabetes and cardiovascular disease in kids under the age of 18, that's a crisis. That means we really need to look at what we're doing as a whole, as a community, and as our families. So our work is focused on partnering with hospital systems, managed care organizations, social service organizations, community-based organizations, and businesses who are offering dietitians and physical activity, so that we really see the whole. And that the expo is just one stopping point in the year where you get information that you can continue to activate your agency in your health for yourself and your family members.
Yeah, I think like when you're told you have pre-diabetes, you're like, whoa, you can't really have less pre-diabetes, but you can have fewer markers
Correct.
that will indicate that. And I don't think anyone ever gives you an opportunity maybe to learn or to know how. So to address that in between is really critical. All right, final thought. Part of what you were doing with all this is this thing called We Must Save Us.
Yes.
Started a long time ago with some of your predecessors and things like that. I know you said that that's really the umbrella. Tell me about that.
So We Must Save Us really, as we looked at our work over the years, we realized that what we were hearing people say is, wow, because I came to that nutrition education session, I now understand what I can do for me. And so this becomes this conversation about how can we save us, because we need each other. We're built for community. So we have health systems, we have our doctors that we go to. We understand, we want to strengthen those connections of understanding this is a partnership, and what are the steps and what are the tools that you need. And then how can you better advocate for yourself and your family members when you go to the doctor or if you go to the hospital? And so it's one big circle, and it's about how we together are working to save us. And that doesn't happen, nothing really happens by one person doing it. It's a multiplier effect. So if I learn that, wow, maybe if I drink a few less soft drinks and replace that with water, and then all of a sudden I start feeling something different. And then someone asks, wow, your skin looks great, or gosh, what are you doing? Well, I took this one step. And so if we can build that momentum and really kind of build this movement of how we together take a step. So the expo is one step in this year. So we want you to work and participate in many of the things we're doing, but most of what we do is not done by ourselves. We are fortunate to have partnerships with the Christ Hospital, with UC Health, with Cincinnati Children's Hospital, with managed care organizations, with doctors. Like together, we are all working to ensure that we can lengthen the length of lives lived by all of us, because we want to live as long as possible, but we want to live healthy.
Yeah, you want to live well, for sure. All right, we have links to this organization at whatshappeninginhealth.com. Do we have a date on the expo?
Yes, it is the last Saturday of April, April 25th at Washington Park.
All right, we are holding that date. We are grateful to you for just being here today. Thank you for updating us, and we look forward to following that throughout the year.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's a pleasure. All right, a lot of people giving up alcohol for dry January. Coming up, if that plan not going so well, we're going to share where there's a little extra help if you need it. And if you have questions about how to lose weight, look who's in the house. We're pretty excited. We have a team here from the St. Elizabeth Weight Management Center. You are looking at Dr. Troy Schumann. He's here with our patient, Barbara Bouffard. She's lost a lot of weight. Wait till you hear how she did it. And actually, he has too. It's all in our next half hour on what's happening in health.
This portion of What's Happening in Health is sponsored by Network for Hope and William E. Hesch Law.
In Hope You Know today, which is what we hope you know about your mental health each week, if you are taking part in dry January by giving up alcohol, could have some multiple health benefits, really. The Linder Center of Hope says some of those benefits include lowering blood pressure, dropping your anxiety, getting better sleep, even losing weight. Addiction experts say, however, eliminating or even cutting back on alcohol can provide these benefits whenever you choose to drink less, whether it's January or some other time. But if you notice after not drinking that you have a lot of mood changes, that could be a red flag.
If a person does this challenge and they start to feel some of this irritability or agitation or feeling anxious, that might be an indicator that there's some alcohol dependency involved. And if that's the case, then they really should talk to their primary doctor for that or go to a therapist.
If you do need help or you'd like more information, you can call the Linder Center of Hope. They have a 24/7 hotline at 513-536-4673. In Your So Vain today, it's a common problem, leg swelling at the end of the day, but many people think it's normal. Well, sadly, it's actually not. And if it comes from lymphedema, which is swelling due to your lymphatic system not draining properly, this device may be helpful in reducing that swelling. We got a demonstration of it at the Vein Center of Cincinnati.
It is a device that mimics manual lymphatic drainage. It uses air to move in a sequential motion from the foot all the way up to the upper thigh in a movement. It almost looks like a caterpillar. The air will blow in the foot, then it moves to the ankle, to the calf, to the thigh, then all air is released, and then it starts that sequential motion again.
If you'd like more information or you think this may help you, Vein Center of Cincinnati would love to hear from you. 513-232-2400. All right, just ahead, curbing the cussing, what a new poll finds about parents and whether or not it's okay for kids to swear. Stay with us for our next half hour on what's happening in health.
The headline medical stories that affect you and your family. This is What's Happening in Health, sponsored by TriHealth.
Welcome back, everybody, to our second half hour here on What's Happening in Health. So glad you're staying with us today. If your New Year's resolution was to lose weight, and it's maybe not on track, it's okay, we got this. Barbara Bouffard has been on a journey. She successfully lost more than 80 pounds. We want to welcome Barbara. She's here with Dr. Troy Schumann of the St. Elizabeth Comprehensive Weight Management Center. So glad to have them here to share the latest on just what works, not for the quick fix, but for a real lifetime of good health. And this cold weather can really make you miserable, but it can also literally make your head hurt. We share how to get the migraines if the weather is giving you the trigger to ease up a bit. But first, we do have a quick headline this half hour. If the new food pyramid guidelines have you questioning a little bit about what to eat, we want you to know that if you follow them precisely, it could have you a little low on fiber. We spoke to registered dietitians who say you may need as many as 5 vegetables, 2 fruits, and 4 servings of whole grains to meet the 30 grams of fiber that you need each day.
Fiber helps to keep our heart healthy. Fiber helps to keep our gut healthy. Fiber helps to keep us full for longer periods of time.
This new food pyramid recommends far less than that for the average person in a day, and it puts protein actually at the top of the pyramid right along with fruits and vegetables. So, just watch your balance there, Kate recommends. All right, on now to our top story this half hour, which is in Your Healthy Rights. You have the right to know that most parents don't actually think that kids and swearing is all taboo. News to me. My parents would have never said that. New poll from the University of Michigan Health C.S. Mott Children's Hospital, which provided this video, finds that not even half of parents say swearing is never okay. Researchers say that kids are, unsurprisingly, taking advantage of this leeway.
In this mock poll, we asked parents of kids aged 6 to 17 about their children swearing. And while many people would think that all parents are against kids swearing, only 47% said it's never okay for kids to swear. And the other parents took into account the context of the situation or even the particular word. And kids took their parents up on it because a quarter of parents said their child swears occasionally or even frequently. And that was higher for teens compared to 6 to 12 years.
Well, there's some insight in there. 58% of parents, however, did concede that they're most responsible for kids learning these words. To curb cussing, you likely have to control some of your own, experts say. All right, in Waiting for Life today, the National Kidney Foundation wants you to know that they have several programs that can offer support if you are a kidney patient, you're on dialysis, or you're waiting for a transplant. Dialysis is a process that filters the blood when your own kidneys cannot. Perry Hall, a two-time kidney recipient, says it was really challenging for her to sit for hours each day hooked up to a machine away from her young children. We spoke to her recently on what's happening in health.
My children were young. They didn't really understand what was happening. I was immediately put on dialysis, so I was away from them, seemingly out of the blue.
For a list of the programs that the Kidney Foundation offers, you can visit what'shappeninginhealth.com. And we do want to remind you that they have a special fundraiser each year. It's a lot of fun. It's called Dining with the Stars. This one's coming up March 11th. It's at Rheingeist Brewery. They'd love to have you attend, help support those who need kidney care. We have all that ticket information at what'shappeninginhealth.com as well. All right, just ahead, this is what 10 pounds of body fat looks like. So if you drop 10 pounds, it's a big deal on your heart. Up next, to help us do that if needed, we want to meet Dr. Troy Schumann of the St. Elizabeth Weight Management Center. He's here with Barbara Buffard. She's down almost 80 pounds. Stay with us on What's Happening in Health.
This portion of What's Happening in Health is sponsored by Metro.
In Healthy on the Go, you might want to plan your transportation for Super Bowl weekend now and think about options other than driving. Metro tends to have weekend options to help you go to celebrations all around the area. And a new survey shows that Cincinnati is among the top 5 cities across the country with the highest risk for people in Super Bowl celebrations. Canada Sports Betting analyzed safety data from emergency rooms and the risk of encountering impaired drivers. Cincinnati's poor rating was driven by high emergency room utilization, elevated alcohol traffic deaths, and the high numbers of OVI arrests. Cold weather can have a big impact on people who have migraine headaches. Specialists at the Cleveland Clinic say that extremely cold weather, as well as changes in barometric pressure, can create a perfect storm for people who get migraines. Winter weather can trigger vessels in the brain to dilate, cause inflammation, can also lead to sinus pressure, and any of these can cause headaches. Experts say those with migraines should stay inside when you can, make sure you're hydrated, reach out to your doctor if you notice that you're having headaches more than normal.
There are a lot of ways to deal with, that sudden change in headache frequency, and that's where I think patients should reach out to their healthcare provider for that.
Now, headache specialists say it's also important for migraine sufferers to reduce stress, to manage mental health anxiety, issues such as anxiety or depression. Can also trigger or make an attack worse. All right, well, we are excited to have our team here from St. Elizabeth Healthcare. They have a wonderful weight management program. Remind us who you are.
I am Barbara Buffard.
And you've been in this program now for how long?
I started 4 years ago, just a little over 4 years ago. And hit my goal I hit where my body wanted to be, probably a year and a half, 2 years in. So it's been maintenance since then.
Well, that maintaining thing is hard with anything in life, let alone weight.
Absolutely.
So. And Dr. Troy, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I'm Troy Schumann. I'm the medical director of St. Elizabeth and been the medical director there since 2008.
You have your own weight loss journeys.
Yeah, that kind of what got me into this. I had a time where I lost a bunch of weight, didn't really do it the way that the science would say, ended up having a health emergency, and no one could really tell me what it was, so that's kind of what drove me into learning more about it, and that's kind of been the driving force that I've had since that time.
Wow. Well, we had the privilege of sort of stepping out and meeting Barbara, and we wanted to share just a little bit about her background and her story. You know, if you go on GLP-1s now, which everybody's on, one of the things you need to know is that is a lifetime commitment. Barbara found that out if you want to keep the weight off. Her journey started, as she said, about 4 years ago, and she was told that she qualified for a COVID-19 booster shot due to obesity.
I knew I was heavy. I know I was fat. I had been for years and years and years. But just to hear that label, like, you're obese, was just, I mean, I just broke down.
And so with the help of Dr. Troy Schumann, a bariatric specialist here at Kentucky St. Elizabeth Comprehensive Weight Management Center,
I like to tell patients we got to work on everything.
Barbara dropped her first 40 pounds through good nutrition.
So I tell them we're going to work on the diet, and then I put them on a GLP-1.
GLP-1s work by delaying the gastric emptying in the gut. This helps you feel less hunger, and you eat less, which for Barbara led to a drop of about the next 45 pounds.
It was a miracle, really.
To keep it off, however, Barb's likely to have to stay on these medications for life. A recent study shows if you don't,
What it'll do is stimulate the brain to want more.
and that, Dr. Schumann says, who by the way has lost more than 100 pounds himself, leads to regained weight. Barbara says she's committed to comprehensive obesity care and staying on the drugs, especially now that she's back to her wedding weight.
I did it because I want to like myself again, and I do now.
You know, it kind of breaks my heart that any of us would ever feel less than adequate because of a number on the scale. But sadly, it's a societal norm.
The stigma that goes along with it drives a lot of people to stay away from getting assistance because they're afraid how they're going to be judged. Mm-hmm. We see it all the time, and one of the biggest things that we've been able to do with our clinic is to modify it to better suit a patient that has a weight problem. We have chairs that are large enough that make them fit comfortable. So everything is designed for that patient in mind.
I think a no judgment program makes it a lot easier to come, show up. Did you feel that when you were there?
Very much so, yeah. Just that first step of going and admitting, it's sort of like alcoholism. You admit you have a problem. I was addicted to food, so yep, it was the place I needed to be. It was great.
So why do you think this program worked for you when other things didn't?
A few things. Seeing a dietitian on a regular basis. Actually, they have the shakes that I would have for breakfast and lunch. And that helped immensely because you don't have to worry about what am I going to eat? What can I eat? It was strict calories. I didn't think I could do it first, but it went really well. And the accountability, of course. Going in, let's see, at first I went in every couple of weeks to see Dr. Schumann. And then once he felt I was comfortable with it and on a roll, started going once a month. And I've seen him pretty much once a month for the last 4 years.
You stay accountable. Good for you.
Yeah.
So what are your options in your program?
We have a lot of different options. We range from no meal replacements to all meal replacements, medicines. A lot of times I won't start medicine right away because I like to get them on the diet first. What we've found, and if you look at a lot of the studies, if you can get them on a proper diet before they go on the medicines, they better tolerate the medicines. But we also got to get them to buy in that, one, they have a disease that we're going to have to treat forever. A lot of people aren't ready to make that commitment of a forever medication to help control their weight, and they may not have heard that before. So kind of getting them to buy into the plan, and then if they do it for a month, then I sit down with them again, and we'll have another meeting and say, okay, how are things going? Do we need to modify? Are we still looking at medicines? Is it the right time? And so it gives them time to kind of get into a routine.
Well, we're going to have you guys sort of stick around because this conversation brings up even more questions. But when we come back in our next interview, the one thing I was really paying attention to is how much, even as a provider, you're paying attention to a person's mental health. And that didn't used to be part of a weight loss journey. So I want to have you talk about that, but we'll be coming right back for them. And we'll be back right after this.
This portion of What's Happening in Health is sponsored by Northern Kentucky Audiology.
And listen to this. We've been hearing a lot about slips, falls, and broken bones in the last few days with so much of this cold weather. And aging specialists say deaths related to cold weather are up. But they also say that what you may not realize is that if you do not hear well, your risk for falls is even higher in times like this. You may not hear snow equipment around you, or people walking by, or pets around you. And if you're startled, you can easily slip. Study in the Journal of the American Medical Association found that older adults are especially at a risk of this falling in the cold, and also, of course, of hearing loss. They have the greatest risk for all this, and the University of Michigan provided this video. All right, we want to continue our conversation with Barbara and Dr. Troy Schumann. Glad to have you here. Talk to me about this mental health thing, because we all know that lots of times you start drinking alcohol to self-medicate. And
right.
You know, we know food's no different.
It's the same thing. What you're looking at, a lot of times people learn when they were younger, if they eat particular foods, it'll cause a chemical release in their brain and make them happy. So they become emotional eaters, stress eater. Exactly. And so the problem is that also has a tendency to elevate insulin. It can lead down the line to weight gain. And so we look at it in a sense that if you don't fix why they do what they do, it comes back. So one of the biggest things is working on emotional eating, working on stress management and things of that nature, so they don't seem to venture towards that direction in their diet.
So you can choose not to answer this, but were you a stress eater?
100%.
Oh, so how did you deal with that?
Actually, they do have a three-pronged approach. I saw Dr. Schumann every month, like I was saying. I saw a dietitian on the off week, so every 2 weeks I was in the office. And they also have an on-staff psychologist that is specially trained for eating disorders and the whole mind game that goes along with that.
How do they help you?
Mainly making me think, why do I turn to food? What can I do instead? She provided a great book, which of course I won't be able to remember the title, but it's, you know, self-soothing without food or stuff. So you just have to find alternatives. I'm a long-time sweet tooth the size of Texas, right? So
only Texas?
I'm from there, so that's where that's where I go. So yeah, it's just it.
So what do you do now if you're stressed?
Good question.
You know, I mean, everyone has.
I exercise.
Okay,
you know, that's that, or I escape to the farm, and there where there's no food around, I can get there, do it, let some stress out, and we all find ways that work for us. And that's kind of some of the part is trying to learn each individual, so that, because everybody's journey's different, and trying to find that thing that they can do and feel good with. Someone that may be 25 who loves to exercise and lift weight may be different than someone who's 75 and doesn't have that ability anymore, and you have to kind of gear everything according to who you're treating.
But you had mentioned you have back problems, so exercise wasn't a good stress reducer for you.
Not a good idea. Not a good idea.
So, you know, did you start writing? Did you start painting?
I do. I live on my iPad, so it's more just tweaking things, putting my mind somewhere else. My family's helped a great deal. I have a really supportive husband, and my daughter's going through a similar journey, and so we commiserate, and it's worked out well. And seeing him every month.
That makes a big difference, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. I mean, because you have to have that support. If you don't, and one of the things I tell her, I said, don't be mad if somebody offers you something that used to make you happy, because you've trained them over many years that this is what makes you happy. And so when they see that you're hurting or something, then they offer you that, you go, oh no, I can't have it. And really what it is you've trained them. I said, you can't change training after 35 years. We learn that as husbands, that our wives, they learn what makes us happy and they have a tendency to follow it. So we also have to look at having their support really makes a huge difference when you're looking at sustainability. And I think that's the one thing that people forget about with these medicines. These medicines have the ability to show sustainability. And I always tell patients all the time is, we're really good at losing weight. We're just better at finding it. And really what the medicines do allow us to sustain that weight loss, something we haven't been able to do before. And we look at some of the studies that are out that are showing 5 years of sustainability. That's where I think these medicines are so great, because people don't just lose it, they get to keep it off.
Yeah. Well, I want to say congratulations on your success. You're really inspiring, and one of the things I love about your program is you've never been a one-size-fits-all.
Right.
And that's so important, that her needs will be different than your needs or my needs.
Exactly.
So we do, of course, have a link to the St. Elizabeth program. If you're interested, they will let you come and ask questions, lots of them, and we'll have that link at what'shappeninginhealth.com. Please come back soon.
Okay.
Let us follow along, see Barb's journey.
More pressure to keep the weight off.
I know, I don't know if that's good or bad, but we appreciate
It's
you
a good
sharing
thing.
it. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, God bless. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Good to see you again. All right, researchers have uncovered a big clue on aging. Coming up, we're going to tell you why some people really stay mentally sharp as they age. It's all on what'shappeninginhealth.com.
This portion of What's Happening in Health is sponsored by Mount St. Joseph University and Advanced Cosmetic Surgery and Laser Center.
Before we go, a couple headlines for you. Pregnant women who undergo unplanned C-section deliveries could face acute psychological stress. A study from Mass General Brigham found that 1 in 4 women who had an unscheduled C-section had significant stress shortly after birth. Experts say the symptoms can linger, and that can increase the risk of post-traumatic stress, as well as depression and difficulties bonding with the baby, even up to 2 months after birth. Finally, today we leave you with aging gracefully. Having good genes, picking the right parents, may explain the secret to success for some so-called super agers. A study by Vanderbilt University looked at people who were ages 80 and older, who still have memory and cognitive function, as well as someone 30 years younger. They found those super agers are less likely to have 2 genes linked to Alzheimer's disease. Same group also found they're more likely to have genes that are beneficial to cognitive health. Pick the right parents. That is it for this week. We're back same time next week. Hope you will be too. Until then, everybody stay well and stay tuned.